Hello and welcome to the InsideStylists podcast. I'm Emma Morton-Turner and you're listening to episode 5, How to Create an Enviable Contact List. So your contact list as an interior stylist and writer is everything. If you can't find people quickly to get press releases or information, phone numbers or products for shoots, it can really slow you down. And actually, there's one person that springs to mind every time when I need to find a contact because she knows everyone, and that is today's guest. Her story is interesting, her knowledge is phenomenal, but the focus and inspiration she has on how she does her work is just brilliant. I really enjoyed recording this episode and I hope you enjoy it too. Today's guest has been an interiors journalist for 18 years, 11 of which has been specifically on interiors. She's worked on grand designs, modern gardens, living, etc., ideal home, to name just a few. If you look at her list, it's huge. She also works on trusted reviews, testing gadgets and home appliances. She's the fastest person to respond when there's a PR request. Today's guest is Rachel Ogden. Hello, Rachel.
Hello, Emma.
So Rachel and I have known each other quite a while, actually, because Rachel was, you were a sub on Woman and Home, weren't you?
I was.
That's going back a
all
little while.
good writers, you start with the nuts and bolts. Yes.
So, but you didn't start as a sub. You became a writer, and you did. Well, how did you become a writer?
Okay. So, while I was thinking about what A-levels I wanted to do, I decided that I wanted to do a psychology degree, and to do that, you had to do 2 sciences. So, 2 of my A-levels are biology and psychology.
Oh no, I'm a little bit scared now.
The other A-level I did was English Language and Literature, simply because I didn't know what else to do. So I picked that. And one of the practical assignments we had to do was to write a piece and then test it in a real-world environment. So I wrote this little feature, sent it off to lots of sort of teenage magazines, the ones that I read, you know, you're just 17s and you're 19,
God, yes.
and, you know, all those kind of, you know, teenage magazines. And one of the ones I sent it to was Live and Kicking magazine of the TV show that is no longer around.
But we remember well.
And they said, like the piece, it's not quite right for us. Would you like to come for a week's work experience in London? Now, I'm from Yorkshire originally, so this was a bit of a jaunt, shall we say. I ended up staying with a far-flung relative, like third cousin twice removed or something. I'm like, hi, never met you.
You'd never met them?
No!
That's super brave.
So I stayed with them for a week in London. I came to my work experience, and instead of getting me to make the tea and coffee, which is what I completely expected, they had me reviewing CDs, they had me going off to a film screening. If you remember the band Damage, I sat and interviewed them and asked really stupid questions like, can you boil an egg? And after that week's work experience, I was hooked.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to be a writer, and you know, I started kind of pushing forward with that and doing lots and lots of other work experience placements too. And you know, so I applied for a journalism degree, which part of it was NCTJ qualified, so I was kind of schooled up on defamation and T-line shorthand, even though I probably couldn't write a couple of lines of T-line shorthand today. And then I just started applying for jobs, and I got my first job on a parenting magazine, really, really small firm, who I think gave me the job just because they were impressed I sat on a train for about 6 or 7 hours to come to the interview. So they went, she seems dedicated, we should employ her. And that was my first job. So that's how I ended up here.
That's amazing, because normally when you do work experience, you kind of watch what other people are doing and think, oh, I want to do that. But actually, to get them, for them to ask you to do it and interview kind of celebs, you've got to call them celebs.
Yeah, I mean, I was 17, so I guess I wasn't as
you know
young
what?
as
You
the
have to
other
be very
worky experienced
brave
people.
to do that.
Yeah.
When I was on Women and Home, people who came in to do work experience couldn't even pick up the phone to call a PR. They were petrified. But you were going out there as if you were...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They were just kind of giving me information, and actually the film screening I went to was like the Brady Bunch 2 or something like that, which really...
So torture!
Oh, God! But it was in in this little sort of cinema which had kind of like 10 seats just for press screenings, and I was like, there's me and like a couple of other people, and I was petrified.
I was just going to ask, were you scared?
Someone's going to find me out, that I'm some 17-year-old from rural Yorkshire who's just kind of ended up being given all this responsibility, which was bonkers. And I'm so grateful to the lady who gave me that first break, as it were, and actually decided I was mature enough to go off and do stuff.
Yeah, and obviously you could write straight away because she's seen that first feature, so she knew.
I still have my press clippings from Live and Kicking. They have my initials on, and it really dates me.
Do you know what? I did work experience on Living Etc., and my hand was in a shot. And I still have that tear. My hand. That was the first time I was ever in a magazine. Not my name, my hand. And I bit my nails and they look terrible. But,
I know.
But you keep those things, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, I've kept every single magazine I've ever worked on.
Have you?
Because behind you, you'll see lots of folders, but that's just like the last year's worth.
Wow.
Everything else is in big boxes up in my loft,
wow.
sitting on the joists, because... it has to be like the strongest place. And one day the ceiling will cave in and my work will kill me. Literally.
Yes, I think it might, because I kept Woman and Home. While I was working at Woman and Home, I kept every issue. And I was there 9 years. And I was at Homes and Ideas for a year and a half before that. And I had all of them. And when I moved house, I moved them all with me. And I thought, I have never opened one. So I went through and I took all of my pages out, and now I have a box with the text. Literally one A4 box.
Yeah, I like that idea. And I there's another journalist I know who told me that she kept all of them, and then one day she just decided to get rid of them all. Yeah. I was like, isn't it like throwing away your children or something? These are things that our blood, sweat and tears have gone into. I don't think I can be separated from them.
When you look at those original ones, you think, oh my God, look at the colour schemes, and look at the... Probably not so much in writing, but when you look at the things you've styled, it's like, it's so dated, and you think, that was so fashionable.
Oh yeah.
It's really interesting how you can look back like that.
Things do move on, and they move on at this kind of very slow pace, so you don't really notice it so much. And then, you're right, you look, I can look back at kitchen magazines I have, and it's bizarre. It's the very sort of classic and shaker stuff looks like it could have been fitted yesterday, and then you have someone with a high gloss lime green kitchen with like sparkle work surfaces, and you're like, oh no, I really hope that's been ripped out by now, because it's terrible. It's so dated.
So how did you come to work on interiors?
I was on a women's magazine for a few years in a subbing capacity, as you said, and I ended up getting a job on Beautiful Kitchens magazine. And that sort of moment when you suddenly find your niche, you find the thing that makes you happy, that you feel passionate about. I had that moment.
And did you have any idea you were into interiors before then?
I'd bought a house a few years before. And I'd been doing a few sort of bits to it, but, we didn't have any money. So, it was very much just patching up what needed to be patched up. And so, not in any great way, but more because of financial constraints rather than any lack of big ideas. Kitchens was something I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the fact that they were so technical. I enjoyed the fact that, they're such a big project. So you can kind of really get your teeth into it. Not that I'm sort of disparaging anyone who sort of writes about cushions or sofas or whatever, but there's not a huge amount you can write about sort of the smaller, softer stuff. Whereas kitchens, you can get really into the fabric of it. So
you kind of, because I know you have a real, you're an expert in kitchens, essentially. I know, but you are.
I don't like that word, because
you're very experienced in kitchens, because it's not just the pretty cabinets and the things. Rachel made me a cup of tea earlier, and you were talking about how. Can you talk a little bit about how you were saying about I can't remember what you called it now, the thing that when you don't need to have plugs and stuff, it's all done underneath.
Oh, induction.
Induction, yeah. But not induction hobs.
No, so most people know induction hobs and they know how they work, and you put a pan on and it forms a circuit, and that's how the pan gets hot, but the actual glass of the hob isn't really, that's not what's supplying the power necessarily. In the same way, people have started installing sort of induction sort of power systems into worktops, so you can put your phone on it and it will charge it. And I have a thing called an induction blender by KitchenAid, and that works in the same sort of induction magnetic principle. And I have this idea that one day you'll be able to put all your Smile appliances on your worktop and power them without any cords or anything like that. And I kind of feel like it will happen, but only if that's something people want, if you see what I mean. Because at the moment, the kitchen industry, there's an awful lot of kind of, hey, will this work? No? Okay, all right, let's move on to the next idea. There's been an awful lot of kitchens of the future where you're kind of like, is that ever really going to happen?
Is it too early sort of thing?
Yeah.
People aren't quite ready for it.
No, and I mean, because people buy kitchens sort of maybe every 10 to 15 years, whenever they come to the market, everything is exciting and new. I mean, hot water taps took an awful long time to really catch on, simply because it's not something you go out and look for until you're doing your kitchen. You can retrofit them, but it's rare. So they come to them, and everyone you interview about their kitchen goes, oh, I've got this hot water tap, it's so clever. And you're like, yeah, they've been around for a while. Yeah. And you're very blasé about it, and they're just like, because it's a new thing to them, it's so exciting. And it was what's happening now is they're becoming less standalone and more integrated into taps that also do your standard hot and cold, and then they'll probably, some of them do sparkling water.
Oh my word.
You have like a gas canister underneath, and you have your sparkling water, so you don't have to keep buying and throwing all this plastic away. That's such a hot topic at the moment.
I like that a lot.
And that's why it's become a really big thing.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So you're really, so do you just write about kitchens? You write about other things as well, don't you?
I write lots of things. I'm also quite into bathrooms. As you do.
They're closely connected. They both have water.
Yeah, they're all. Well, the thing is, I mean, they're hot and wet kind of places, but also, I mean, bathrooms are changing massively at the moment in that there's more technology that's going into them. Before, it was just very much kind of, where do your pipes go? Where do your waste go? Do I have to move a soil stack? And it was pretty standard. And now it's kind of getting to the point of having digital showers and Bluetooth-enabled speakers and TVs, that's something that's been lingering around at the very top end of the market for a while, and now they're becoming a little bit more accessible. People are starting to think maybe. Or they're going very spa style and having aromatherapy and steam showers, and all of that kind of stuff needs cables. So they're becoming more technical and also more of a general sociable space. It's not uncommon to see people with seating in their bathroom, so someone can be having a soak in the bath, someone can be sitting having a chat to them, or the kids can be there, and and it can be more of a sort of family space than a solo shut the door and then that's it.
So I'm just going to tell a little story about what I do. So I have not what I do in the bathroom. Well, it is what I do in the bathroom, but not like that.
Do people really want to hear this?
They're going to want to hear this.
Okay.
It's not personal.
Right.
So I have this ultimate relaxation that I do, that if I'm either stressed or I'm physically very tired,
still not sure about where this is going.
If my back really hurts, I saw an osteopath and he said you should have an Epsom salt bath 3 times a week, and the Epsom salts put magnesium into your muscles and relax you, and you get out of the bath, you feel like you're floating.
Right.
So I've turned this into a great big experience that I take my stool from my office. I've got a standing desk, so I've got quite a tall stool.
You've got a standing desk.
Yes.
Oh my!
An old knackered workbench. It's
lovely.
Fantastic. Really nice.
But it sounds better when you say it's a
standing desk.
I'm so on trend. Look at me.
No, it was all to do with healing my back and being upright and working your muscles. Also, you can move around so freely if you're standing and you're not confined to a chair. I know that's a really silly
I like
saying.
Wheeling around my office. I'm too
I bet
lazy
you do.
even to get off my bum. I'm like, maybe I'll wheel over to the printer, because I can.
Yes.
No one here to judge. It's great.
So I take my stool and I put it in the bathroom, and I put my laptop on it, and I make the room. I fill a really deep hot bath, like piping hot bath. and I put in probably about 4 cup loads of Epsom salts, because you're supposed to have a lot more than most people use.
This kind of sounds like you're making soup.
Yeah,
Emma soup.
And then I make myself a really hot cup of lemon and ginger tea with lots of honey. So I have a hot bath, and I have hot on the inside, hot on the outside, and then I watch something and I say I'm allowed 1 episode, and I can stay in there for like 2 episodes, and I just literally top the hot water up every now and again, and it is the most relaxing thing ever. So I'm thinking chairs in a bathroom is a good thing for your laptop, because I don't ever plug it in. I'm super careful when it's nowhere near anything. And then I put a candle on, and it's brilliant. And you literally come out like you're floating. And like bathrooms are so important for that. And it's like the kitchens are really important for family and socialising and stuff. But the bathroom, and I'm the only person who baths in my house. Everyone else showers.
Really?
Everyone, yeah.
Oh no, I'm a once a week bath kind of gal. It's my routine. I have usually a bath on a Sunday afternoon, and I take a magazine in with me, usually Harper's Bazaar, because I like to look at pretty clothes I can't afford, and yeah, I mean I just sort of wallow there for like an hour, and it's like my reset. It's this.
Yes.
Okay, we're done with that week. That week is behind you. Think of new things, and I have great ideas in the bath. I mean, they don't all pan out, but it's when that switch in my mind kind of clicks and I start kind of thinking about stuff. And I did actually have a notepad in the bathroom with a pencil for a while that I would just scribble everything down, because otherwise I'd be like, I've got to get out of the bath now to write everything down. Yeah.
That's so true though. You do have your best ideas when you've switched off. I have my laptop, but I can't actually touch it. Yeah. And you don't have your phone, and your brain has time to just stop and think. Yeah. Yeah. That's why holidays are so important. You can probably switch off and plan. Oh no,
holidays! I'm all about just kind of like life. I'm leaving that behind now. That is all behind me. The domestic drudgery. No, I'm a holiday Rachel now. Woohoo!
So, do you think that if you want to be an interiors writer, you have to have a passion for interiors, or do you think you have to be able to write? Do you think you need to have both?
I think both, because I mean, how do you convey that sense of why something is good to someone if you don't love it yourself? I have friends who sort of work in interiors, and I can go out for a drink with them and spend time, banging on about plate finishes and what was that flooring called, and to anyone else who's not into interiors, this stuff is very dull. Especially I'm awful to watch TV with, and I'll sit there and go, I know where that tap is from, and
it's when you watch EastEnders and go,
look at that fruit bowl, I know where that fruit bowl's from.
So, or if you're watching EastEnders and you go, how can they afford Farrenball wallpaper?
Absolutely. I mean, they take their washing to a laundrette. Not judging, but still,
it's not real.
The two don't tally. So I think you do have to really be passionate about what you write about, whatever that may be. Like certainly people who work on specialist titles, they all have or do the thing that they write about. Yes. And I think the same is true for interiors. You just can't get excited about stuff and make other people excited. And that's really what it's all about. It's not just going, it's brown and it's nice and you should get one. You have to make people excited about their homes. You have to, every sort of kitchen or bathroom feature I write, I'm always keen not to make it sound scary and daunting, because people already think it's scary and daunting. I want them to be excited about their project. And I am excited about different projects. So I want to get that across. I want to kind of go, this is why you should be doing it. It's going to change your life. You're going to look back and go, I wasn't living before. You want people to get excited. And if you're not excited yourself, how do you get that across?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You have your portfolio on issue.com.
I do.
And I had a little look. Your portfolio is very inspiring. You kind of see quite a lot of ideas on there that you haven't seen before. But you've just done your own kitchen.
I have.
How difficult was it for you to choose what you had in your kitchen with the breadth of knowledge you have about all the different brands?
Incredibly difficult.
It was?
And if I did it today, I'd probably make entirely different choices with the benefit of hindsight. I mean, you've seen my kitchen. It's very. The cabinetry is very simple.
Why don't you describe it for anyone listening?
So It's what I would say is in-frame cabinetry. So instead of the doors just sitting flat on the front of the cabinet, they fit within a frame, which is structurally more sound. They came rigid, they're sort of factory assembled, so they've got that strength. The base cabinets are painted a deep blue, and I have floor-to-ceiling cabinets, well, almost, that are painted. It's kind of sort of a grey blue, but sort of kind of
it's quite light,
pale.
isn't it?
It's
a happy colour.
It looks very different colours at different times of year, depending on the light. With the blue, doesn't change an awful lot, but the grey on any given day can look completely different, which is I quite like.
Yeah.
And then I have my work surfaces are decked on. With sort of a marble effect.
Yeah, they look like marble. They really look like marble.
Decked on is a little bit like ceramic or porcelain in that it's made from those constituent parts under high pressure. So you can pretty much, it doesn't stain.
I was going to say it doesn't stain like kind of natural products do.
No. And you shouldn't put hot pans on it, but I do. And
it's been all right so far.
It's been fine so far.
But we don't advise it.
No, well, you know what? The first ding or bang in the kitchen is when the gloves are off and you kind of, it's not the perfect thing it was anymore. And then I have brass bar handles, which were made by a company in Birmingham, which I was kind of quite... For me, the handles of a kitchen are the tactile part. They're the bit you interact with the most, and so they should be lovely. And mine are lovely.
Yours are lovely.
But they're made by Armac Martin, and so I sourced them myself. And they've got this lovely sort of very, very heavy feel to them, which you don't get in kind of cheap, crappy handles that you get from the Far East. I mean, you should go for quality where you can. And so, I remember the guy fitting them just going, oh my God, these are heavy. And I'm like, but isn't it good?
Yes.
And so they have this sort of very pleasing heft to them. And then I have a matching brass filter tap. And so that's kind of what my kitchen looks like. But I mean, because it's painted, I already have in mind the next colour scheme for it.
So thinking just repaint the existing cupboard to...
Yeah.
Well, you can actually, can't you?
I won't be painting
them.
No,
of course not.
I'm rubbish with a paintbrush and more paint will end up in my hair than on the cabinet. But they can come and take the doors off for me and just literally take it all apart and repaint it. And I kind of, at some point I'll probably go sort of for another dark colour on the base units, and it will be something maybe like sort of a lovely sort of mossy green maybe, or aubergine, something like that. Something sort of one of those kind of darker period colours, and then with something contrasting on the tall cabinets as well. So that is part of me not really committing to one whole thing. If I'd have committed to just one particular kitchen finish, that would have been fine. But I don't ever really want to refit the kitchen again because it was a lot of disruption.
Yes, you actually shared that on your blog, didn't you?
All about the disruption.
Rachel has a blog which is rachelogden.wordpress.com, and you can see the befores and the afters. And I was saying, I've seen the blog posts, and when I came in and saw the kitchen for the first time, your kitchen looks much bigger than it does on the photos. It's quite surprising because it looks like it's quite a small galley kitchen, but actually it's a really decent size.
I've got to get a fisheye lens on the camera and just kind of like, look, it's huge, it's great. Yes.
And just talking about repainting them, we've had our kitchen, actually I was going to say 4 years, but it's not. It's since I went freelance, so it's actually 7 years. Okay. And I'm getting a bit itchy feet to change it. And my kitchen is, it has a lot of end panels. So I was like, well, maybe we could just change the doors, but we'd have to change all the end panels. And you haven't got that problem. You've just got the cabinetry. And it's actually a very clever design. Very clever. I will share images and links to all of this on the show notes so people can see what it looks like. Because you need to see it. It's gorgeous. So you were on Beautiful Kitchens, and then from there you were made redundant. Is that right?
Yes.
And so you've been. I'm going to skim over that.
Yeah.
And you were made. You went freelance. And so how long have you been freelance now?
Let's see. It was mid 2013. So that's coming up to 5 years.
Yeah, it flies by, doesn't
it? Wow, that's lots.
So was it quite scary going freelance?
Oh God, petrifying.
Yeah,
absolutely. I was completely unprepared because I was made redundant. I didn't have a plan in mind. I think if you're thinking about going freelance, you probably spend an awful lot of time actually thinking about the ins and outs of it.
Yeah, I kind of knew I was going freelance, but just jumped because I'm a bit like that. Yeah. But you were made redundant, so you had no choice.
I would have rather had a plan, I'll be honest.
Yes. And
it's something I've thought about before.
Yes.
But not in any kind of serious capacity, in a kind of, hey, maybe one day I'll go freelance.
Yeah.
And you need a lot more thought than that.
Yeah.
And I really didn't put in, I made plans quickly, but, because you sort of start off and you just kind of hope that it works, you talk to lots of people, you go out to lots of events, you kind of try and advertise yourself. And
how do you do that? How do you kind of, because it happens very quickly sometimes, you don't have time to kind of put it on Gorkana and say, I'm freelance now, who needs
Well, I got it on Gorkana.
And did you get a response from that?
I sent out no. That's the thing, I think on Gorkana, most people who read it seem to be journalists and, just kind of skim over it and kind of, but I don't think anyone really commissions off the back of that.
I got my very first job from Gorkana.
Okay, all right, well...
But it was just that one.
I don't think I got a single thing going, hey, I saw you on Gorkana. My big thing is, before I left, I sent out an email to everyone at the company, just kind of going, I'm going freelance, here's my website, here's my portfolio, hastily gathered together.
I was going to say, did you have that ready to go, or you just kind of pulled it together very quickly?
Yeah. I mean, that's the sort of thing that, I sort of had knocking about for a while.
Did you collect PDFs as you went of your work?
Yeah.
That's a really good tip.
I did them as I went, so that when I was done, I would have a portfolio.
Because when I went freelance, and I knew I gave 3 months notice and I still didn't get my finger out, but I had to go to the art department and say, right, can I get this image and that image? And I just hadn't been gathering up shoots and things as I went, and I had to grab it all literally the week I left. But that would be, if anyone's thinking about it.
I had the luxury of kind of having access to all the files and stuff, so I could easily do it as I went. At lunchtime I'd just make a couple of PDFs from the previous issue or something. And so I sent an email out to everyone I knew there, and I just started going out to events, and just talking to people, and certainly those first few were very difficult, because I would find myself, they go, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm a freelance journalist. And it almost sounded like an apology, like, I'm sorry, I'm freelance, and they go, who are you working for? Oh, I've just started and I'm not working for anyone.
That's a really good point, because actually it's like, especially as I was on Woman and Home when I left, you were on Beautiful Homes.
Yep.
You go from somewhere that's very established and has a good name, and then you go out there and you're on your own.
Someone when you work for a magazine, and when you have that identity already, and the moment you become freelance, you got nothing. Yeah,
and I think when I get asked that question, I go, oh well, I've worked for this person and that person. Anyone who wants me.
There is this idea that, you work for these people but not for these people, and I don't really think you can really be that choosy.
Do you know what? So when I went freelance, I always say it took me 2 years to not feel like I was on holiday getting paid for doing work, that I was going back to Woman and Home, because I was there such a long time and I was completely institutionalised. I said right up until those 2 years when I stopped feeling like I can't work for Good Housekeeping, because they were the competition.
Traitor.
And I literally thought, I think I would have to turn it down because I'd feel a bit weird and I'd upset
How principled
Sue
are
James.
you now, Emma?
Well, they never came and asked. But now, I would now, but for a long time I don't think I would have.
Really?
I would have done it, but I might have felt really bad.
That's quite
I
funny.
was properly institutionalised. I was Woman and Home, running through my bloodstream.
It's part of your identity.
Even a little bit now, all these years later.
That's the thing about going freelance, is you lose your identity very suddenly, and suddenly you're not that person anymore. So you have to construct yourself a new identity with all these kind of constituent parts, and you're kind of, who do I want to be? And some of the things that I've done have helped form that. So I decided when I left that when I went to press events, I would be smart. I would wear nice dresses, because if I'm going to sit at home in my jeans, like most days a week, then when I go out, it's going to be a thing. And, I want people to say, you look nice, you look smart. I want to add a little bit of class.
You do. You always look amazing.
And also,
and red lipstick.
The red lipstick is another thing.
I almost didn't recognise you today.
Sorry, I haven't got a scrap of makeup on.
I know. I'm actually flattered by that.
Okay.
That you can be relaxed with me.
Oh, God. The thing is outside of work, that's work Rachel. Work Rachel's is a very different beast to kind of just bumming around the house Rachel.
That's so funny.
Well, but it is though.
Because I found myself in a different way. I found myself, I had to be a grown-up when I worked at Woman and Home.
Yeah.
And I don't think I am a grown-up.
No.
I'm 45, but I'm not a grown-up.
Aww.
And I think now I'm the Emma that I am. I am the same everywhere now. So I can be a bit goofy at work and at home, and I am completely the same everywhere. But I do dress smart.
I do need to have
events.
a work head on for work stuff. I do need to have a certain amount of gravitas in my head, and that was all part and parcel of me finding my identity as a freelancer and who I wanted to be and what I wanted to project. You're right, the red lipstick is a thing. That was suggested to me by a PR. I had lunch with her. She kept going, "I love the red lips. You know, that should be part of your thing." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" kind of thing. We had this whole big sort of conversation about things that make you memorable. It's a good idea to have something that makes you memorable. So PRs kind of, you know, when they've met you once before. I have honestly walked into events and someone's gone, "You must be Rachel." Why? Someone told me to look out for the lady wearing the red lipstick.
Wow.
That is how that much kind of impact it's had.
That's amazing that lipstick can do that.
Lipstick has done that.
Wow.
And I wear the same shade, and you know, it's part of my identity.
You have
now.
to share the shade.
Or
is it a trade secret?
No, it's a Chanel one though.
Oh, so you make me feel amazing.
Because if you remember back in the day, Lynn Cardy, once she wrote about a lipstick in the magazine, and this just sort of stuck in my head, and she sort of said something like, you know, it opens as smoothly as a car door, and it was a Chanel lipstick, and it's true because you push one end and it pops out, and it does all feel very luxurious and part and parcel of it. So this is why I've kind of adopted that shade. But it's true. That has happened on more than one occasion. Look out for the one with the red lipstick. That will be Rachel.
Fantastic.
So, and I like that.
Yeah.
So,
of course you
I've
do.
carried on wearing it.
No, that is absolutely genius. And obviously I see you when you're with your red lipstick, but I've never twigged that was a thing. I just thought you wore red lipstick.
No, I do wear other shades. Outside of work. I mean, you know, I don't want to be caught dead in a plum, but...
and you would suit a plum.
Plum always feels a bit 90s though, doesn't it? It's, hey, I'm a rock chick, I've got plum coloured lips, you know, I'm so depressed and pale.
So what would you say was the best thing about being freelance?
You never know what's around the corner. And I like that a lot. I mean, it's exciting. It's terrifying, you know, because there are some times when I've looked at kind of what work I've got to do, and it kind of maybe only stretches on for another couple of weeks, and I go, "Oh God, it's happening, that's it. It's all going to come rushing down around my ears." And inevitably something comes up, and I don't always go, you know, sometimes I go out and sort of put out feelers, and or I sort of, you know, mention to the right people that I've got a little bit of capacity right now. But more often than not, it's just... anything could be around the corner, and I like that. It's exciting, you know. I loved working on Beautiful Kitchens. I did. It's was a great magazine, but it wasn't exciting in the same way. No. I knew what I'd be doing next month. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next month. I could be doing something completely different. I could be, you know, and it gives you the opportunity to take on those things that you would never normally do, and also, you know, with that kind of variety. You know, you learn more stuff as well at the same time. So, you know, with doing some writing about gardening and stuff, and I've been a particularly keen gardener, you might notice from my very overgrown lawn. But you know, it inspires you to do different things. So you just don't get that from a magazine that, you know, that you work for all the time. Yeah,
it's more constrictive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, back, you know, Woman and Home, we had cycles of stuff, and things would come round at the same time of year, and you know, it just all felt very much kind of like, oh, we're here again.
Yes, that's partly why I left, actually, because I felt like I'd achieved everything I could achieve there, having done 9 Christmas shoots, or give or take a maternity leave or 2, but you kind of have experienced it, and you want new challenges. So.
Absolutely, and I mean, you know, every month is new challenges, pretty much. I mean, I have some regular clients, and I do the same kind of stuff for them each time, but I don't have to. you know, I can do other stuff. I can take on other things. You know, I've taken on some social media work.
Have you? So what kind of thing is that like? When you say social media work, what does that entail?
Oh, so that's just sort of, you know, supplying content for sort of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram feeds.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah. You know, it's very one way, because it's very much, this is just providing the content as opposed to getting into a dialogue with people.
That'll come next. They'll get you responding.
Well, it could be. I don't think I should respond to anyone, really. I'm fairly certain I just end up highlighted in one of those, you know, social media faux pas stories. Just, you know, go fired. so yeah, but it's something else. It's something else to learn about. It's something else to get to grips with, you know. I
was talking about that when I was talking about my journey, and that when you leave a magazine, you think there's only magazine work out there, but I've done quite a lot of videos for social media and all sorts of things like that, and it's quite interesting how lots of people going freelance at once can feel quite scary, but
because
plenty of work out there. Yes, it feels like the market's flooded. Yeah. But there's not just magazines to work on.
No, and I think also it doesn't matter how flooded the market is if you're good at what you do.
Yes.
Because, you know, it doesn't matter that there's 20 people out there doing the same sort of thing. Are they doing the same sort of thing as well researched, as you know, diligently as you? And as long as, I mean, this is the thing, sometimes I have been asked to do work when I am absolutely brimful to capacity, and I have said no, and there's been that, oh please, can you just, and I'm like, if I do this, it will be rubbish. Yes. And I will not want my name on rubbish. Yes. You know, if I'm writing about something, I want to know that what I'm putting out there is the best it can possibly be. You know, it's very easy as a freelancer to know that basically the only way you're ever going to earn more money is ask for more or work harder. These are the options. Yes. And asking for more is often not a thing you can do at a magazine, because they have budgets, and that's the budget, and like it or lump it, and or you can work more, and it's very easy to get on that little treadmill of working more and just, you know, not really paying attention to what you're doing and just churning it out, and what you end up with is a really sloppy product that feels sloppy and lacks research and lacks quotes and is just lazy. And, you know, I would definitely rather earn less and know that what I'm putting out there is good.
Yeah, very well said, very well said. Right, I've only got a few more questions because I've taken up quite a lot of your time. I'm just going to very briefly tell people where we are right now. So I've come to Rachel's house, and I rang the doorbell, and she said, I'm just coming. And then it took a minute or two, and I was like, oh, is she in the loft? And she's got I want to call it a cabin in her garden. You've got an office in your garden that you built specifically for working. Yeah. And it's fantastic. Rachel lives on the top of a hill, and the views are fantastic. I mean, we're recording this today. The sky could not be greyer, but the sky looking out right now is huge. You've got so much sky. You've got trees and forests in the background, and it's just spectacular. That was that hard decision to build this just for work.
It wasn't. I'd been working in a small third bedroom in the house that just was suffocating me. And I knew I needed some kind of dedicated space. It was a very difficult decision in terms of the budget that it required. Yes. But, you know, if you can't invest in yourself, and that's what this is. Yes. It's a big investment, sure. Yes. But you do have to invest in yourself because there's no one else to do it for you. You know, in terms of doing anything sort of, you know, to enrich your skill set.
So there's something that I wanted to bring up, which I'm sure anyone... I've mentioned the Facebook group a few times in previous podcasts. And I have to say, Rachel, no one responds to a PR request as fast as you. You know everyone, and you know the most up-to-date contacts for not just kitchens and bathrooms, pretty much everyone. Yeah. How have you built up such a comprehensive, up-to-date contact list?
I mean... I have the luxury of doing lots of different features for starters, so I have a need to go out and make sure my contacts are up to date, because I want to know that if someone comes to me and go, hey, I want a feature on bedrooms, I want to know that I've got bedroom contacts. So I did spend a certain amount of time looking on the internet, looking at people's press contacts pages. I send people messages on Facebook and ask who I can direct a press inquiry to get the name of marketing managers. Plus, you know, I'm on a lot of mailing lists, which helps.
I think that's a really good tip, because I think there's quite a few people, possibly in the Facebook group, which I know won't be relevant to a lot of people who are listening, but that's your first point of call. You look on the website. Yeah. You look to see if there's press, because 9 times out of 10 there's a press contact on there. And you also
have a little stalk on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is fabulous for that kind of thing.
I do Instagram.
You go to the company and you just search for marketing.
Yes.
And even if they're not necessarily the right person, they can poke you in the right direction most of the time.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, I also read trade press, you know, for the kitchen and bathroom industry, so that I hear about new companies, I hear about new developments, I hear about companies who are, you know, maybe just in Europe, but then they're coming into the UK or they ship to the UK. And I make sure I get those contacts too, because I want new pictures, I want new information, I want to know about new products, I want to know that, going back to what I said before, every feature should be as good as it possibly can be. Yeah. And I like to think that that's probably why I get commissions, is because I bring people good images, good information, up-to-date stuff. You know, it won't always be bang on the money, but, you know, for them. But I like to think that they know that I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And the only way of doing that is being up to date with everything. And if you haven't heard from someone for a while, just to chase them up. If you get a bounce back, find out who your next person is. Whenever I sort of send out group emails and you get kind of, I'm on maternity leave, I'm out of the office, contact this person, I capture those contact details. And so I make sure I've always got an up-to-date contact. Yeah,
that's very good. Very impressive.
Oh,
it's very impressive.
Thank you very much. I noticed there were a few today when I just went, you can totally find that yourself. Just look on the website.
Yes. So you must have quite a lot of emails every day then?
Yeah.
Do you just whiz through them?
If I go away on holiday, I can sometimes get 200 emails a day, which is lots.
I thought 100 a day was too much. But gosh,
it is. Well, sometimes it is. It all depends.
How do you deal with your email? Do you have a system?
I have a general folder for press releases that I just throw general stuff into.
Do you look throughout the day at your emails, or do you have set times to?
I would love to be that disciplined, and I know that if I'm writing a feature, I have to just shut my email down, because otherwise I'll just be kind of like, oh, what do they want? Oh, what do they want? But at the same time, I think it's good to monitor it, because if someone doesn't hear back from you about commission, they'll ask someone else, and they'll ask someone else pretty soon. And so that kind of email has to absolutely be responded to straight away. Similarly, if someone's got a problem with one of the features I've sent to them, I know they're nearly always on deadline, and they're absolutely wetting themselves about getting this information, and so I need to get on it straight away. Yeah,
it's a fine line, isn't it?
It's hard between being almost constantly contactable and just kind of going, right, I've got to switch off from it and just walk away and do something else. So, you know, it's not a good thing to be constantly watching it all day.
No, it's a little addictive or a little obsessive. But
well, people,
I'm terrible. I love
there was a movement a while ago which was, you know, like the zero inbox or something. Forget that. The idea is to finish every day with every email dealt with, or, you know, the peace that comes with an empty inbox. I'm like,
never gonna happen.
That's not realistic.
No, that's stress.
No, but I do try and reply to every email, even when it's like people just sort of, you know, Joe Blogs emailing me going, what do you think of my kitchen? Is it worth a feature? I'm always still going to email them back because they bothered to get in touch with me. You know, and I think everyone does deserve a reply. I hate being ignored.
Yeah, me
There's
too.
nothing worse than emailing someone and not hearing back from them, and you think, have I gone into the junk folder? Have I made it through? Sometimes you pick up the phone. Did you get my email? Oh, yeah. Do you think a little just kind of, I'm dealing with it? Sometimes that's all it needs.
Yeah,
to
acknowledgement.
just kind of go, I'm looking into this for you. Done. That's all you really need. You don't need a full answer, but sometimes people think you need a full answer. And so, you know, they don't get back to you for a couple of days while they're working on it, and you're like, hello?
Yes, very frustrating.
So you start stalking people on social media and just kind of going,
oh, they're on holiday.
Are you there?
They're ignoring me.
Yeah, no one likes to be ignored. So I try and answer every email, even if it's a silly email.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been known to do that. So I've kind of got this question of what's next, but sometimes I think that's a bit of a difficult question. So maybe what's next, or even what are you working on at the moment?
Let's see. What am I working on right now? I've just finished a couple of kitchen and bathroom features for Grand Designs. I have a regular blog that I do for Rated People, which I've been doing for a few years now, which is just on sort of general home renovation. So I'm working on that right now, and I'm also working on a piece for a regional sort of Surrey-based magazine on bedrooms, which is quite fun.
So just a few at once then, yeah?
Yeah, and that's kind of like, you know,
I'm tired thinking about it.
I sort of have to kind of get things done by the end of the week, and it's a little bit mad. I mean, you constantly have to be spinning plates. That's kind of how I think of it. It's like one of those old-fashioned sort of plate spinners where you're just constantly trying to keep each one going.
Do you know what? This is something that came up when I was talking to Charlotte Boyd for a podcast earlier in the week. And we were saying how when you do a shoot on a magazine, and a 4-day shoot is exhausting and it's stressful. But as a freelancer, you do a 4-day shoot this week, and then you've got a 2-day one there, and you've got another feature you've got to write all at the same time. And you cope with it now. It's a completely different kind of ball game. And you can cope with it. It's amazing what you can do.
When I first started out, I used to have genuine panic attacks about the promises that I'd made to people about when they would get their features. And I would look at my workload and I go, it's just not possible. I can't do this. I can't do it possibly. And you know, you start thinking of different ways around it. I know by now that any amount of work I've got, it will get done. And that's all you have to remember. It will get done, because it has to get done, and it will get done. So stop flapping about it.
Yeah, focus and it'll be done.
And do it, and it will be done. And however overwhelming it seems, you know, you'll find the way of doing it. And if that sometimes means not going to a nice to do press event, and there's plenty of nice to do press events that we all bowl along to, just kind of like, oh, is this relevant for a feature? No, but I heard you had macarons.
So we're staying over here by this plate that's getting very quickly empty.
Yeah, exactly.
I did this yesterday, that's why I'm laughing.
Pretty cakes. There's lots of those nice to do press events out there, and unfortunately they're the first things to go when I'm busy, unfortunately. And it feels very sad when you're like, oh, I can't come to the lovely dinner. No, I'm writing about, you know, ceilings or something. And, you know, and I feel bad, and oftentimes I sort of, you know, I've RSVP'd stuff, and then the week later just going, I'm sorry, I can't come.
Do you know, I think that's a given. I think they expect that. They expect a certain amount to have to pull out. I do at least
it's the nature
of the game.
Them I can't come. Yes. I think it's the rudest thing in the world to say, yes, I'll come, and not show up. And I've been at plenty of dinners where there's just been empty places around the table, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You couldn't send one email going, I can't make it. Rude.
Yeah, very rude. Well, Rachel, this has been really, really great. You've given us so much information. It's been fantastic.
Too much information.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
People back away from me at parties, you know.
No. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way? Email?
Yep, definitely email.
And your email is?
It's rachelogdenjourno@gmail.com.
And Instagram? Are you big on Instagram?
I am on Instagram. I don't know that I'm big on Instagram, but I am Rachel Ogden _, which is also my Twitter handle, so you only have to remember one.
Brilliant. Okay, I will put all these details in the show notes for all this episode. Thank you very much. It's been great.
It's been fun.
Thanks for listening to the Inside Stylist podcast. You can find Rachel at rachelogden.wordpress.com and on Instagram at rachelogden_. You'll find all the links from today's episode in the show notes on InsideStylists.com/Rachel Ogden. We love talking to people in the interiors industry. Is there someone you'd like to hear from, a particular stylist or an industry expert you'd like us to interview? Then just let us know and we'll see what we can do. Until next time, bye for now.